Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install Ubuntu using VirtualBox and the unattended install method. And this will show you the easiest way to get full screen and everything else working straight out of the box. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do, if you're unaware, VirtualBox is a hypervisor. And what hypervisor does, it lets you run operating systems on top of your host operating system. So at the moment, this PC is running Windows 11, as you can see. But you can see I've also got a virtual machine in here called, which is Debian, and I can start Debian, and it will boot in the background. I will continue talking whilst that's happening. So you can go online, and there's a manual here, virtualbox.org/manual, and that gives you everything you need to know. But for the average user, there's probably too much information. So we'll start off. Where do you get VirtualBox from? Well, it's the virtualbox.org website, and you can go to downloads. And depending on your operating system, determines whether where you go from here. So if you're using Windows, as I am, you go to Windows Hosts, and you can see it's downloading down here in the bottom left corner. There's also something called an extension pack, and this is useful for network and stuff like that. You may as well download that as well. So now that's downloaded, what you will do is you're going to click on the executable. At this point, you may see an error as shown on the screen. So I'll show you how to get rid of that error. Most people won't get this, but if you do get it, this is how you fix it. First off, open a browser and search for C++ redistributable. Click on the first link. It's learn.microsoft.com, and it says latest supported Visual C++ redistributable downloads. Scroll down under the heading Visual Studio 2015, 2017, 2019, and 2022, and click on the link for x64 if you're using a standard 64-bit Windows. Click on the executable so that opens, and then click on the install button, and that will install the required package to get around the error. Okay, so we've got the setup wizard. You click next, where you're going to install it, next. It will temporarily interfere with your network interfaces. Click yes. You can ignore that error message and click yes, and then click install. You can find it from the start menu here. Oops, if you can spell. And then you can open VirtualBox. And what you'll need is a Linux distribution to install. For this example, I'm going to choose Ubuntu because it's a popular one. So if you search for Ubuntu, and we're just going to go download Ubuntu Desktop here. And it's up to you which version you choose. So you then click on the download link here, and then it should start downloading in the bottom left corner, which it does. I don't actually need to do that, so I'm going to cancel because I've already downloaded it. So we're going to close that. So once it's downloaded, it'll be in your downloads folder. And what you're going to do is you're going to click new, and you're going to give your operating system a name. So in this case, I'm going to say Ubuntu, and you're going to say where you're going to put it. I'm going to put it onto my SSD, and I'm going to put it in virtual machines, and I'm going to create a new folder. I call it Ubuntu. And then just select folder like that. And then you need the ISO image, so you click this down arrow here, and what you would do is you would go to your downloads folder and you'd pick the ISO image of Ubuntu, which would be down there. Now I've actually got the image in a folder called distros, so I can go down here, and there you go. And it's picked up that what I'm installing is Ubuntu 64-bit, but you can see there's loads of others there, and there's also generic Linux, etc. So I'm going to leave it as it is. What you can do now is something called an unattended install. So you give your user name and you give it a password. Give it a host name. The domain name's not important. You can do this install in background. I'm not going to do that. What you can also do is tick this here, guest editions ISO, and you click this drop down, and you're looking for the guest editions. Now, this will be under C, program files, you know, from a VirtualBox, so Oracle, VirtualBox, and then you're going to click on VBox guest editions, like so, and then you go down to hardware, and you have to say how much memory you're going to give it. So I'm going to give it 4 gigabytes. How many CPUs? I'm going to give it 2. I can't really give it 8. I haven't got 8. I'll give it 2. Enable EFI. Don't really need to do that within a virtual machine. And then hard drive. And then so where's it going to put the virtual machine? So I'm going to put it on my D drive, and it's actually going to go into the folder that I want it to. So, but you can put it wherever you want the thing, and then you can then slide this along to say how much memory you want to get, how much disk space you want to give it. So I'm going to give it 30 gigabytes, and then you can choose the type of image. I'm going to stick to VirtualBox, and then if you already had a hard drive file, you can choose that, or you can choose not to have a hard disk at all. And then I got my password wrong, so it wouldn't give me the finish button. Now I'm put that right, and so if I click finish, you can now see over here it's powering the VM up. You get all these notifications appear, auto capture keyboard. You can turn those off, and now you can see it's automatically going to start installing it. I don't actually have to do anything because I've gone for the unattended install, not the unintended, which is something completely different. Again, you've got this thing here, so you can press that to get rid of there. Okay, so this takes a while to do, and the screen goes black during the installation of Ubuntu. Don't worry about it, just leave it. Come back later on, you'll suddenly reboot and you'll be at a screen like this. So now, in theory, I should be able to just log in. And there we have it. Ubuntu is now installed. We're now at the post setup, but before we do any of that, let's see, has the guest editions automatically installed themselves? We can find that out, press Control F. And the fact that I can go to full screen without any issues means that the guest editions have installed correctly. So an unattended installation is the easiest way to get your operating system up and running for things like Ubuntu and stuff like that. Now, this online account, you can skip it if you want to, you can sign in if you want to, and this thing called Ubuntu Pro, I'm going to skip that. And then help improve. I won't be doing that today. And then you've got location services for privacy, and you're ready to go. So now Ubuntu now works as it would, well, almost as it would for any, like if you had it installed natively. It's worth noting that the network will be shared with your host network, so it will always come through as a wired connection if you're connected to the internet. And that's pretty much it for the installation point of view. There's a couple of things I want to check, and we'll need to go to settings. Because I'm in the UK, what I want to do is check things like time zone, etc. Now it's picked up the time. The time looks correct, so that's a good start. I guess the keyboard is what we're really looking for. And as you can see, it's picked keyboard US. I'm in the UK, so I need the English UK one, so I can click the plus symbol there. I choose English UK, and then just do add. And then I can remove this one if I choose to. And now English UK is my default. It's a lot easier to install using the unattended install and change your keyboard this way than it is to actually do the attended installation and then have to install the VirtualBox extensions and additions afterwards. So this is the best way of doing it. That is the end of the video, but keep watching and subscribe to the channel because in future videos coming up shortly, I'm going to show you how to share folders between your host machine and your guest machine. I'm going to show you how to do an attended install of Ubuntu, how to install Ubuntu if you're already using a version of Linux. I'm going to show you other tips and tricks to do with VirtualBox. So keep following, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.